Hello from the Daily Dad. We're going to be making something special today, and we're going to go from this to this in about 40 minutes. This, my friends, is steak in pepper sauce. Hey, it's great to be back in the kitchen because I want to share with you another yummy dish that you can make. But heads up, this one is a bit more involved than most other ones on this channel. I'm making a special dinner for the daily wife as it's her birthday. So to make the steak in pepper sauce, this short video is divided into 4 parts. Preparing the steak and tenderizing, preparing the pepper sauce, cooking the steak, and then finally adding the veggies and the sauce so that it can be plated. All right, ready? Here we go. What you see here are 2 pounds of flank steak. Flank steak is middle of the road steak, tasty in its own right if you take some extra time to prepare it properly before cooking it in the frying pan. But if you are a bit impatient in the kitchen, you can whip out your American Express Platinum card and sub out the flank steak for filet mignon. But the Daily Dad works daily, so yummy flank steak it is. And what you've been watching so far is me cutting the steak into manageable pieces, maybe 1 inch thick and a few inches up and down. I'm trying to get these pieces small enough so that you can eat a strip in 2 bites. Now, flank isn't considered a prime piece of steak, so we'll want to tenderize this for a few hours. And to do that, we're going to need a few ingredients: some cooking oil, some salt, and some baking soda. I don't want this to be a class in cooking science, but the combination of these kitchen staples helps to relax the proteins within the beef and keeps them from bonding during the cooking process. You see, when these proteins come together and bond, it creates that tougher chew. So once again, when proteins keep their space, we get tender steak. When the proteins come together, we get a riot. Tenderness good, riot bad. Also, these ingredients will help to keep the moisture and more of the beef's inherent flavor from escaping. So juicy, yummy steak good, dry, yucky steak bad. And this mixture helps to keep the steak from charring too quickly during the pan frying process. Anyway, you can see me putting the cut up steak into a bowl and then adding the oil and baking soda and salt. Again, I'm working with 2 pounds of steak as I'm going to serve 4 people. Once I've added everything, I'll give it a good mix and we'll just let it sit in the refrigerator for about 2 hours so that the chemicals can do their thing. By the way, some websites say that you can accomplish full tenderization in 30 minutes, but leaving it in there for 2 hours allows me to go watch 2 episodes of The Pit without interruption. However, don't leave this overnight. By that time, the meat will have turned mushy. So 2 hours good, mushy bad. By the way, have you seen that medical drama called The Pit? Goodness, I was born in America. That is an American-made drama, and I still have to turn on the subtitles to figure out what the heck they are saying. Anyway, let's get back to our dish. Stat. It's been about 2 hours, and I've seen enough surgical procedures on that show to last me a lifetime. So let's go ahead and take out the steak. Very important, we need to be very thorough in rinsing all the chemicals off. We do not want any lingering baking soda in the steak, as that will give this an unwanted metallic taste. And you can see here that as I am filling the bowl with water, it is starting to become a little bit milky. And again, that is all that residue that's coming off of the steak. Once completely rinsed, we'll need to dry these pieces before cooking. To do that, we'll next lay out some paper towels so that we can place each piece of steak on them. I'm probably going to let this batch dry for about 30 minutes before actually starting to fire up the pan. But while this is happening, we're going to take a detour at this point and start working on the pepper sauce. So let's pull up the ingredients that I'm going to use and we'll start to get this prepped. And in this corner, we have the base items for the sauce, half and half, beef broth, and cornstarch. I'd say 2 parts broth to 1 part half and half. The half and half is to give the sauce a lighter color and sort of a lighter flavor, and just a tablespoon of cornstarch, which will thicken the sauce somewhat. And in the other corner, we have the aromatics: black and white pepper, red onions, shallots, garlic, butter, tomato sauce, and sugar. I'll list these out for everyone, but you can vary the amounts to your own taste. Now, with the stove on medium heat and with the butter already melted, we'll start to combine all of the rest of the aromatics. Once done with this part, we'll then add in the sauce base. Also, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt, and a little bit more butter. We'll then continue to stir, and then we'll let it sit on the lowest heat setting until we need it later in this video. See you later, Mr. Pepper Sauce. Here's another thing that we will prepare while the steak is drying. We'll also have enough time to slice up 2 bell peppers. I'm using 2 colors here so that I can enhance the presentation once it's plated. Now, let's start to pan fry the steak. Nothing magical here. Medium-high heat. Put some oil and butter into the frying pan to help with the cooking process. And then we'll add in the steak. Keep an eye on it. Flip it every now and then. Target for a nice medium rare. Also, add some seasoning salt to enhance the flavor, and do add some Worcester sauce to amp up the steak's savory properties. Once you're done, just assemble the steak in a large serving plate. Okay, so after all that, we are almost done. And this is looking quite excellent. We just need to do a couple of final things. We're going to add the pepper sauce as well as the bell peppers. So just watch and see how the final product takes shape. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And there you have it, steak with pepper sauce. Hey, this is the Daily Dad reminding you to try new things and to be happy.